What is up, guys? It's Mike here, and today we're going to be looking at the Target exclusive Retro 5 pack for Maximum Destruction, or Maxi, whatever you want to call it. This pack is very cool. Alright, so this is actually one of my favorite things so far this year, and these have recently just been released in Targets. Now, if you were lucky like me, I did get this on September 29th, which was pretty cool, and I do have to say one thing right off the bat is that these were a lot easier to find than the Gravedigger 5 packs from last year. So, last year, one of the main things, probably one of the best things that Spin Master did last year was that 5 pack retro edition, or whatever you want to call it, for Gravedigger, and that had a ton of Gravedigger trucks. Really cool. So it's pretty cool to see that in the second year that Spin Master decided to go with probably the most second, or well, I would say second popular truck in Monster Jam, which is Maximum Destruction. And I believe the original release date on these was October 1st, but some people were able to find them at Targets, as you see the sticker right there. Now, this is only exclusively to Targets, just like the Gravedigger 5 pack, and by now, when this video gets released, most of you guys should have this, or at least seen this in stores, and I believe the total price of this was $20 with tax and everything. But as you see the box right here, now, the reason why the box is not in my studio, the box is a lot bigger than the studio, and don't worry, I will be getting a new studio very shortly. Now, looking at the box itself, you can tell it is the same exact layout as the Retro Gravedigger 5 pack from last year. You have the 2002 Team Mints truck, which is really cool. Then you have the 2003 Maximum Destruction. And then you have, I believe these two were World Finals, I could be wrong with those, the Red Max D, and don't you love it when the camera dies like that? But yeah, you got the two World Finals right here, the Gold Max D and the Red. I think this was a World Final, I can't remember it. And then you have the special 10-year anniversary Max D right here. So really cool. One cool thing I really do like, and this is pretty sick because this is the actual legit casting, just like the real life truck. And one thing I want to point out too is, I don't know if you can really see it before I open this, but these are not rubber bands anymore that these trucks are held in by. They're kind of like, not hard zip ties, but I know a lot of us did, in Monster Jam, most of these video, he said that the rubber bands were bending the chassis of the truck. So I'm really happy that Spin Master listened and they actually did put different pieces on there. So looking at the side here, you see the Gold Max D. With Maximum Destruction, back in the time when I watched Monster Jam, it was still Goldberg and Team Mints, and I kind of stopped watching it around 2006, but I was so young then, I kind of didn't pay attention. However, I did start getting back into Monster Jam in about 2018, and obviously I missed these three trucks right here because I just didn't really watch it that much or follow it anymore. But yeah, those first two trucks, it is pretty cool to finally see those trucks made. It is pretty cool to see those in the casting. Really awesome. So with that being said, I'm going to spin this thing around one more time, and on this side of the box it does have the Red Max D. So I'm going to crack this thing open and we're going to take a closer look at all these trucks. Alright guys, here they are, completely out of the package. I gotta say, these trucks are amazing. I really like them a lot here. So, Maximum Destruction, Tom Meents, very interesting that they basically decided to pick the trucks that they picked. So, I had a feeling with there being the Gravedigger 5 pack last year, I was kind of hoping that Spin Master would continue this going forward, and I really love that they basically did keep it going on, and they did do Max D, which I thought in a way was, I don't know how they could have did it, but I'm kind of happy with the way they did it. And next year for 2021, I kind of hope they do it with Avenger, because I guess that would be the next truck that would make sense. So it would be very interesting to see if Spin Master does come out with another 5 pack next year. And if it's not Avenger, I really don't know who else it could be. So with that being said, finally, two big things on this set, or basically on these trucks that are amazing. So the first one being that this Team Mints truck is actually the right casting, and it looks just like the truck in real life. And another thing is on every single one of these trucks, they have what you call the Will Mintz chassis or the Tom Mintz chassis, which basically is the front engine on the chassis itself, so that is a nice added bonus as well. But with that being said, we're going to go through all 5 of these trucks, and I'm basically going to list them down from the ones I like the least to the ones I like the best. So obviously my favorite one will be first out of the 5, and the one that I don't like as much would be 5th. So with that being said, let's start this countdown with the truck that I like the least amount, I guess, out of the Retro 5-pack exclusive Max D. Alright guys, so my least favorite truck out of the entire 5-pack is definitely the Red Max D here. So I'm not too familiar with this truck. I never saw this thing run. I don't really know if it was Neil Elliott that drove this truck. Like I said, I wasn't really into Monster Jam as much as I used to be when this truck was out and running. With that being said, trying to stick to it as purely like a diecast review and everything. Max D, we did see a lot of these trucks, and we haven't really seen a burgundy red one. We did see the fire one, which is pretty cool, but I mean, I don't know. Out of the 5 trucks in here, in my personal opinion, this one's probably the last. Actually, this one and the next one are pretty much tied for the last, because like I said, I don't know much about these trucks. I feel like one of these could have been replaced with maybe the Black Max D, or maybe the Goldberg truck. Now, I know a lot of us wanted the Goldberg truck and everything. However, contracts and licensing and, you know, all that stuff, Spin Master couldn't do it. But, I don't know. I just feel like this Max D, the red burgundy one, we probably could have did without, but I do like it, and I do love how they actually did keep on the top here on the roof the 11-time champion. They didn't change it on those trucks, so just interesting to me that they would do this one, I guess. But like I said, I'm trying to stay away from the bias that I don't know it, but yeah, cool to see it does have the front engine. I think all these trucks actually have the same exact chassis, so that's pretty cool. But now moving on to truck number 4. And with truck number 4, it's kind of the same situation with the number 5 truck, and that's none other than the Gold Max D. Now, this one, I could be very wrong on this one because I think Colton Eigenberger ran this one. I could be wrong on that. Probably like 80% wrong. But I don't know. I mean, we've seen 2 Gold Max Ds basically. Well, by now, by the time this video comes out and by the time these trucks are reviewed, this would be basically like the 4th one. We had the color changer, we had the Creatures truck, and then we also had one from Mix 2 of last year. So, you know, it's just very interesting to do a gold one. I mean, I understand the concept of it, trying to get that truck out, but I don't know. I just feel like these 2 were kind of like the wild card trucks that it really could have been any kind of Max D, and the fact that they went with these, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about them. This one also does have a front engine chassis, as you can see the motor right there. And one thing I want to point out too is even though this pack, it could be a lot of money for some, you know, $20, but for customizers, these chassis, I don't think we're going to see these chassis on anything else. So with these 5 packs, for anybody that customizes trucks, that is huge. But yeah, pretty cool design, but like I said, we've seen 3 or 4 Gold Max Ds already, and even though this is a different shade of yellow and a different shade of like gold, I guess, I don't know, it just kind of wore off on me with the other gold trucks. But then again, this is coming from someone that didn't really know about these trucks when they were out and running, so it's kind of hard for me to put these ahead of the other 3 trucks. But with that being said, let's move on to truck number 3. Alright, so truck number 3, this is the first time that we are seeing this casting, and I gotta say, Spin Master did a great job with this. So it's none other than the Max D 10th anniversary? Yeah, the 10th anniversary truck. Now, this thing is pretty cool. So this one is actually its own unique casting, And the reason for that is basically it's the old Max D body, Goldberg Team Mint's body, but it also does have the mascot on the side, which is its own individual casting. And this truck also does have the old retro tires, which is a big plus. And once again, it does have the front engine chassis. Now, I'm pretty sure every one of these trucks do have that front engine chassis, which I love that. However, this truck is not 100% identical to the real life truck. Now, this one came out on Max D's 10-year anniversary, which was 2013, and I'm pretty sure this truck was either a World Finals Encore or Tom Meents attempted to do the first ever backflip. I can't remember off the top of my head on what one it was, but I do remember just about getting back in. Like, I was kind of at that point where I was checking into Monster Jam but not really following it, and I do remember seeing this truck. Now, just like the real truck in real life, I do believe that it is a tad off. I think the truck in real life was a little darker. It wasn't so kind of silvery and gray, but then again, that was 7 years ago, so I haven't really seen any pictures of it in real life or anything since. But one thing I really do like about this truck is just the detailing on it, and I do love the fact how they put the older tires on it. So I think in 2013 that was way before the BKT tires, so I do love to see Spin Master paying attention to that and basically putting these tires back on that truck. Another thing too is I really love this casting. This is a very unique casting since it doesn't have the spikes, it doesn't have basically the fenders flared out on the sides, and it also does have the mascot Maximus right here in the middle as well. So very unique, very well done, and of course it's Max D and it's a 10-year anniversary, so pretty cool looking truck. Now moving on to my favorite two out of this whole 5-pack. Alright, so this was a really, really tough decision, and I'm going to go based on basically diecast and basically what we had to compare it with. So, my second favorite truck in this mix, well, not mix, basically the Max D 5-pack, is none other than the very first incarnation of Maximum Destruction. So, this was pretty unique at the time, and it was also pretty big at the time, because we went from Goldberg to Team Mints, and then out of nowhere in 2003, Team Mints was gone, the paint job was completely different, and the truck was now named Maximum Destruction. And I remember seeing this for the first time, and I was about 12 to 13, and it was kind of weird. It was very weird to see no Team Mints, no Goldberg, and around that time frame, Tom Meents, he was dominating the sport and everything, and when this truck first came out, he wasn't so dominant like he was with Goldberg and Team Mints, but it was just unique to see basically a brand new scheme, same casting, well, same body style. It was just very weird at the time, but very cool in the same way as well. And I really do love the fact that they made this truck. Now, this was a big thing to happen. I really, really love this casting. So, a lot of people wanted this casting, and we finally got it. It is 2020, and we just finally got an accurate casting and tooling of a truck done, basically in 2000 and 2001, 2002, and 2003. We'll get to the casting issue in the next truck, but finally seeing this in toy form, just with this casting alone, you have to put this ahead of the other trucks. You just have to. It's something every collector, if you're a major fan of Tom Meents or just basically Maximum Destruction or Goldberg or Team Meents, it's something you wanted. I mean, this is just one mean looking truck. I'm really happy this got made. I'm really happy that it's here. And for most people, there's a lot of fans out there that don't know the history of Maximum Destruction or Max D. And, the truck is just called Max D now, so newer people might not even know about this truck. So it's cool to go down the bloodline, basically, seeing where the first ever Max D name and truck came from and what it looked like. And this looks identical to the real life truck. So Spin Master, awesome work on this. This one might be one of my favorite trucks of the year. just because of the history, seeing this thing in toy form and seeing it in the correct casting, also seeing it with that front engine chassis too, that is huge. And how can I forget the older tires as well? But yeah, with that being said, let's move on to my favorite truck because I do have quite a bit to say for the number one truck in this 5-pack exclusive Target mix. Alright guys, so here it is. Team Mints. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we got. That's what we had. And then we had a version later on, I think in 2017, and it looked nothing like the real life truck. Yeah. Okay, so this one, all said and done, hands down is my favorite truck. So let's get this one from the other company out of here. This hands down is my favorite truck, and this is probably going to be in my top 5, top 10 of 2020. About time. That's all I gotta say. It's just about time we got this casting, about time we got the correct truck made. The only thing I really have to complain about it is I don't remember the truck being this light. I do remember it being a dark color like this one. That's really the only thing I gotta complain about it. But this casting, with the front engine chassis, the old tires, the gray rims, man, Tom Mintz's face on it, this is just amazing. So, obviously they couldn't get the rights to Goldberg, they couldn't make Goldberg, which, yeah, it kind of stinks and everything. But we finally got a Team Mintz truck that looks just like the real life thing, with it saying on a mission, 2000 to 2001 world champion. It's just, this thing, if you do not like this truck, or you just, it's like, what is that? I mean, you had to know this truck. And I love how they had the USHRA.com and the Hot Rod Association sticker right here. It is just so accurate to the real life truck. It's really amazing. So, as most people do know about this truck, obviously it was Goldberg. A lot of people know that, and I really, really wish Goldberg got made. However, probably due to copyright and contracts and all that, Spin Master couldn't do it. But now with this casting finally made, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will make custom Goldbergs. And not only custom Goldbergs that, won't look right, but, we had to use the old Max D casting. Now we actually have the right casting. It is just amazing. It is, like I said with the other truck, this is a truck that should have been made in 2002. 2003 by Hot Wheels, something like this. Not what we got. I mean, just look at it. Like, I'll never understand it. I will never understand this, and I don't know why. So, obviously, Hot Wheels, they were one of the, or basically are the biggest toy company in the world. So, when they got the Monster Truck license in 2000 or 2002, or whenever it was, we got this for Goldberg and we got this for Team Mintz, and it is just one of the ugliest, like, God, it is just so bad. Man, just comparing them two is kind of amazing. So, the reason why this truck is number one out of the 5 is obviously I know it the most. This is when I was about 10 years old, 10 to 14, and not only was this truck the biggest rival to Gravedigger in Monster Jam, obviously because Bigfoot wasn't there, but it just won everything. If you want to count the paint scheme with Goldberg or Team Mintz, when Tom Mintz drove this truck and the Goldberg truck, he was basically unstoppable. They basically won every single racing competition. Freestyle was always more towards Gravedigger, but anything racing, this truck would win. Or if you guys do remember when they used to race for the checkered flag, this truck would always have the checkered flag on it. If you guys remember that, or Goldberg, it was just unstoppable. It was one of the most unstoppable trucks. It won everything. It was just amazing. And when I finally got my first Hot Wheels diecast of this thing, I used to be so mad and you know, I didn't understand at the time clearly, but it did not look like the real life truck. Now, here we are almost 20 years later that this truck was basically last raced on this paint scheme and everything. We finally got the right casting, we got the right tires on it, we got a front engine chassis. It is just really, really mean looking, sick looking, and not only am I happy to see this, but I'm really happy for Spin Master because they went back in time and not only did they make a casting to the accurate truck, but they actually did the chassis, they did the tires, they did everything so perfect on this truck. This is probably one of the I gotta say, one of the best beautiful trucks that Spin Master ever made. Just, I'm so happy to finally see the right casting. It is pretty cool. So coming from someone like me that, you know, I stopped watching Monster Jam after a while, now here we are 20 years later, and it's really refreshing to see a brand new toy company come in, and even though they've been in it for a year already, boom, we have something that should have been done 20 years ago. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite trucks. The only thing I have to complain about it is that Hot Wheels, I think, did get the color right. I do remember this truck being more of a brownish, goldish, than as bright as this is, but, you know, I'll let that slide because I'd rather take the wrong paint than have the wrong casting. Or, I still don't even know what this is. But, yeah, definitely one of the best trucks this year. Spin Master, this 5-pack. Now, overall, this 5-pack, the Gravedigger 5-pack was amazing. That was truthfully amazing. But with the Team Mints truck and the Maximum Destruction truck, those are just, you hit it out of the park. Now, I don't know if this is better than the Gravedigger 5-pack, but it's definitely up there. However, I've only been looking at this thing for a little bit, so we'll see how much it grows on me and also the community. But guys at Spin Master, anyone watching, this casting, wow. That's all I gotta say. And not only that, but you guys hit it out of the ballpark too with the chassis on it too, with the motor. Because I was not expecting that. I don't think anyone was expecting that. And I remember customizing trucks a couple weeks ago before this even got released or anything. And I was trying to spin chassis around to make it front engine for like Bigfoots and stuff like that. So, awesome job on that. You guys are amazing at this. Please keep up the good work, and I cannot wait to see what's in store down the line for us from Spin Master. But yeah, guys, that's going to be my thoughts on the 5-pack. It was a really, really, really cool 5-pack. If you guys are a fan of Max D or just Tom Meents in general, I would totally get this pack. If you guys are a collector, I would get this pack. If you guys are even a customizer, I would get this pack because now you can customize trucks with the front engine chassis, which is amazing. But all in all, definitely a solid 5-pack, well worth the money. And yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, if you like the red Max D or the gold Max D, gold yellow Max D, or maybe you guys think the Maximum, 10th year anniversary is the best pack in this, or the best truck in this pack. Let me know. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in another video very shortly.